Evening Cherries fans, and welcome to the second Raw reaction video following our 2-1 win against QPR, in which Jaden Anthony and Dominic Solanke scored before a very, very late fight back by QPR, where Mark Travers becomes Superman. To actually carry out this Raw reaction with me, I've got a very, very special guest. He is an actor and a comedian. You'll probably recognise him from Only Fools and Horses, where he plays PC Parker from Hull and Back, and also many, many more. At the age of 14, he actually played the part of Louis in Bugsy Malone. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome onto the show Jeff Stevenson.
Hi,
how are you doing, Jeff?
Yeah, good. I'm good. How about you, mate?
Yeah, really, really good. And thank you so much for joining me on this Raw reaction video.
Absolutely.
So, you was at the game
on
Tuesday.
Great atmosphere.
Yes, yeah. To be fair, you could hear the QPR fans very, very loud and clear.
Yeah.
And QPR were a very good side. But before we go into the football, do tell us a bit more about your career, because it started at the age of 14, like I mentioned, in Bugsy Malone, and you've had so many roles since. Do tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, I've been a stand-up comic all my life. Since I was 14, I was doing like pro gigs at the age of 14. I went to a stage school. I was at Barbara Speake Stage School, which I was there from the age of 13. Bugsy Malone obviously came along when I was 14, and then within 2 years, I was a pro stand-up comic, and I never really did that much acting after that until quite recently, where I've recently sort of started to get back into the acting because of the lockdown. So yeah, no, I'm very lucky. I keep working. I've been very lucky. I work all around the world. I work on the big cruise ships now, or I will be doing it again once we really get back underway. And yeah, I'm very, very lucky still to be working and busy doing the job that I love.
Fantastic. And as a big Only Fools and Horses fan, what was it like to work alongside David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst?
Well, I knew Nick since we were kids. We both used to go. He went to Corona Stage School and I went to Barbara Speakes, and we were always going on the same auditions. So I knew Nick for a long time. But my mate was John Sullivan, who wrote the show. And I met John when he was a scene shifter at the BBC. He was a scene shifter because he was trying to get in as a writer. And I worked for a guy called Dennis Main Wilson, who was quite a famous producer, director at the time. He was one of the guys that discovered a comedian most of your viewers won't know because I'm sure they're too young, but a guy called Tony Hancock. And Dennis Main Wilson, I worked for him when I was 16. I did a special called Mrs. B and the Boys. And it was a show that he produced and directed, but he liked me because I was 16 and I was doing stand-up comedy. And he said, I want to introduce you to this guy. He said, I think you might get on with him. He might do you a bit of good. So I went into the bar with Dennis and he introduced me to this guy called John Sullivan. He just said, this is John, you know. He said, and he's writing, but he's a scene shifter, but he's writing a lot of stuff. And at the time, all he'd ever done was he'd written a load of gags for the Two Ronnies. They used to do news items at the end of the programme, and he used to write a lot of the news items. And so I got talking to him, and we got on great. And we had I was an underage drinker. I had a few pints of him, which was great, as we do. And he always remembered me. So about a year later, or maybe 2 years later, he got this series away called Citizen Smith. And so I did an episode of Citizen Smith where I played a young soldier for him. I was in a tank with quite a famous actor called John C. Collins. And we were taking over Parliament. And that was quite a good scene. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. And so I did that, and then I did a few other bits and pieces for him, and then they asked me to do the warm-ups for Only Fools and Horses. There was a guy called Bobby Bragg and myself, and Bobby did a few of the warm-ups and I did the rest. And so, you know, I got in with the guys. I got in with there was the director at the time was a guy called Ray Butt, and he was brilliant. He was a lovely man. And then they asked me to play the copper, PC Parker. And then a few years later, I was in the bar after the show. I hadn't done the warm-up. And John said, "I've got a great part for you in the next series." I said, "All right. What is it?" He said, "It's only one episode." He said, "But it'd be a really good part." I said, "Do you want me to come in and read for it? You know, because when you're an actor, you have to go in and read and audition." He said, "No, you don't need to audition. You're perfect for the part." And I went, "Oh." I said, "What am I playing?" He said, "A crap comic." So I said, "Oh, right. Well, thank you very much." And so, of course, it turned out it was the comic at Rodney's Stag Night, which I think is the other part that you were referring to earlier. So, yeah.
Yes.
Great,
Yeah.
great to be part of it. I mean, you know, I've been mates with all the cast over the years, and poor old John Challis is not so well at the moment, who plays Policy. He's not doing great. And so, it's nice to see everyone. When we have these reunions every now and then. Well, not reunion, they're like a convention. And we get thousands of people come, and we just sit there, different members of the cast. You just sign photographs and it is the most unbelievable day. You know, I mean, it's a long day, but they queue for miles. They're trying to organise one for next year at Margate to celebrate the Jolly Boys outing. I really hope that, you know, I can make it, and a load of us can make it. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I've actually seen. I've never been to one, unfortunately. Never been to one, but they always seem to fall. You know, when I'm actually doing something. But the Only Fools and Horses conventions, from the pictures I've seen, are amazing. They're run by a gentleman called Perry, aren't they?
Perry, the famous Pell.
Yes.
He's brilliant. He is more Del Boy than David Jason. Honestly.
That's taking doing something, isn't it, really?
I'll tell you the great thing about these conventions, and I've got to be very careful how I describe this to you, but we get people who you would never associate with being Del Boy turned up dressed as Del Boy, you know, and from all around the world. I mean, I have seen so many. I've seen a Chinese Del Boy. I've seen an Asian guy Del Boy, and they all turn up with the coat on and the hat, and they even try and do the impression. It's hilarious. Honestly, it's so lovely that this show has had such a great just a great reputation over the years. You know, I mean, even now I sit down every now and then. I see that there's one on, and every now and then I'll find one, but I haven't seen. You know, or I think I haven't seen. Then I can hear my laugh. You know, because I was probably doing the warm up, and as a warm up, I was a terrible laugher. I was a loud laugher. You know, so yeah, I haven't done them for a long time. So yeah, that's good.
Oh, fantastic stories. And you've recently played the role of Derek Hodges, haven't you, in the film Touching the Blue, which is available on Amazon as well. Yeah,
it's on Amazon and it's on YouTube as well, and it's free. So please go on there. We need more numbers. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, last year I was on the last ship, or one of the last ships at sea. I did a 6-week journey, which should have been a week, and I got on in Australia, in Fremantle. And I didn't get off till Southampton 6 weeks later because nobody would take us. So when I got off, I came home. You know, it was lovely to be home with the family and all that. But I'm used to being busy. I'm used to being out there gigging and doing all the gigs and traveling the world, you know. Yeah. I said, well, what am I going to do? Anyway, about 3 weeks later, a mate of mine called Joe Wemborne phones me, and he's produced quite a few sort of low-budget movies, you know. And he phones me up and he says, "Do you want to do this film?" I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's about a snooker player, a down-and-out snooker player, and he's making a comeback." I said, "Well, I've never played snooker." He said, "You won't have to hit a ball. Don't have to do it." He said, it's all in the dressing room at the Crucible, and he's making a comeback. And I, said, "Oh, well, send me the script." He said, "Well, do you want to do it?" I said, "Yes, I do want to do it. But obviously I want to see the script." I said, "Who else is in it?" He said, "Just you." He said, "There's a few little inserts which we did years ago when it was a stage show with Leslie Grantham and a few of the boys, a few of the snooker players." And so I said, "Well, send me it over. Let's have a look." I looked at it. I said, "Joe," I said, "I think this might be out of my league, mate." I said, I've done acting, but never. This is like 46 minutes of me in front of the camera, just doing it like an Alan Bennett,
yeah.
Like, so I said, "I'm not." He said, "I want you to do it. Please do it." So I said, how long have we got to film it? He said, a week. I said, where are we filming it? I'm expecting Pinewood, maybe Shepperton, Hollywood, Hainault. I said, where? He said, Hainault, Essex. I said, I didn't know there's a film studio there. He said, there's not. He said, we've got a factory unit. He said, which we've hired for the week. He said, which it was his where his business used to be, and he knew that there was this unit we could film in. So I said, yeah, all right, let's do it. So we rehearsed over Zoom for 2 or 3 weeks. It was the hardest job I've ever done, which is ironic because it's the only job I've ever done where I never got paid, because it was a low budget movie, which part of it was that I didn't get paid, he didn't get paid. We put the company that did it got paid, but not that much. Anyway, we did the film over 5 days. I was thinking, it'd be great, but no one will see this. But the 2 guys, there was a guy called Dave Thorpe, who was the camera guy, who was brilliant, and John Danbury and Jim Holmes. Jim was a producer, and Joe Wemble. So as the week went on, they were like pulling me aside, going, "This is all right, this is going to do all right." So I was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard it all before, So I said, it'd be nice to have. Be nice. It'd be another video on the shelf, So we did it. I loved doing it. It was great. And about 2 months later, I get a phone call. Right, we're sending you the final edit. They sent it to me, and I looked at it, and I hate watching myself. And I thought, well, this is all right.
Well, I would like to say how much I wish my old mate, the Thunderbolt Kid, well.
I think we can forget about the nickname, can't we?
They're trying to push me over the edge. They know me, see? They know what I'm like. They know what I expect.
Well, Derek Hodges, the Thunderbolt Kid, as he was called when he was world champion all the years ago. How on earth is he qualified for the Crucible again?
Thunderbolt Kid. That's what they called me. Because I played like a fucking thunderbolt. Bang, 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 bang. Like a fucking thunderbolt. Marvellous. I'm not going to lose my cool. No one's going to stand in my way. Not tonight. This is my chance. My last chance. And I'm not going to blow it.
Well, Derek, or as he was known, the Kid, he was a great player. I had many battles against him, and I enjoyed every single minute of it.
I mean, look at me. They wrote me off, bastards. I mean, it's the principle, isn't it, really?
Derek Hodges, what can you say? This man could do things with a snooker ball I have never seen before.
I don't know where it all went wrong, but it just did. World's #1. What have I got to show for it now?
So Craig, I watched it and I thought, this is all right. I'll take it to the critic who I know will give me an honest opinion. So I drive it in the car around my mum's, and I showed her it, and we both sat there in tears because my mum said, "This is the best thing you've ever done," and I was like, and it really felt like that as well, And I was like, Jesus, what's happening here? So anyway, I phoned Joe back and I said, "This is great. I love it, and thank you so much. You've really made it look good. All my little bits where I probably went wrong, the editing and everything they did with it, they made it look like a class movie, not filmed in a factory unit." So anyway, it went. They said we're entering it into a few film festivals. I said, "Oh, great!" Thinking nothing's going to happen. Film festivals, I've heard it all before. So 3 weeks later, I get a phone call. We've won the award in New York. We're sending you the certificate. I said, all right, okay. What's the best new film? Okay, all right, yeah. Next day, won another award in Los Angeles. Best screenplay, whatever. A short film. All right, okay, that's great, lovely. Then I got the one, you've won the award, best leading actor. So I thought, well, I'm the only actor in it, apart from the guys that, doing the inserts. I thought best leading actor. So there, went on to win 3 best leading actors in different film festivals. We won best short screenplay, best film, best writing. We won, I think it was 26 awards, and it was just incredible, really. So it sort of opened the door, but obviously it opened the door to a room where there was nobody in it because it was a lockdown and there was nothing going on, you know. But it has opened the door to the acting, and I know that I want to do more. Once I've got a few cruises under my belt and got the the bank account back in perfect working order.
Well, fantastic story, and there will be a link below so everybody can watch Touching the Blue, and we do recommend you watch that. Not a problem at all, Jeff. Yeah. So we might as well move on to the football. So of course, you come into the game against Bournemouth off the back of a 3-3 draw with Reading. Yeah. You were 3-1 down in that game against a side who finished just outside the playoffs last season, but have been in a little bit of shaky form. I know that they did win on Tuesday as well against Peterborough 3-1. But did you see that game, and what is your?
I watched it. I watch every game that I can. If I'm here and I'm not working too far from where the game is, I'll always go to the away game. I'll always go to the home game because I'm away so much. I haven't got a season ticket anymore. I had a season ticket for many years, but my son is a student and he goes as much as he can. He's a student up in Durham, but he's home at the moment to the end of the month, and we go to all the games. And I mean, we've had more bad seasons than we've had good. We've suffered for a long, long time. I mean, you know, even when we got in the Premiership, it was every week you'd go hoping for a draw. You know, it was just really painful. And we've had, you know, the managers come and go. I mean, Harry was great when he was there. He wasn't there long, but he was great. He did install a little bit of fight in us. And obviously he got us through that playoff final at Wembley, which, you know, the 1 minute that we played well, and Zamora, the famous goal. But then we had Ian Holloway in and out over the years. I always liked him. He's an acquired taste, but I was always a big fan of his. McLaren was a complete waste of time. It didn't happen with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, although I liked him. And Mark, and obviously we don't mention Mark Hughes because he was a disaster as well. And I don't think any of the fans really liked him. But Mark Warburton came along, and we heard all the stories saying, "Oh, he doesn't, you know, it doesn't last long with him," and all that. All the Notts Forest fans were telling us it won't last long with him and all that. And to be honest, January last year, he was looking like he was on his way out. And then he brought in some signings. Charlie Austin. I'm talking like I know about football. I'm just a fan. I'm not an expert. My son's more of an expert than I am. But then we brought in Charlie Austin, and he completely changed the attitude. And he got Dyke scoring goals, and whatever he was doing in the dressing room, it was working. And obviously Johansson has made a big difference, and we have a young guy who's injured at the moment called Sam Field came in. He was great, and so it started to look good after January last year. We had a good run up towards the end of the season. We missed out on the playoffs, but I didn't think we'd get there, to be honest. And then this year, well, it's just been so far. It's been incredible. Even the other night, I've never seen my team get so much applause for losing. You know, I mean, the fans, every fan in that away section were singing and cheering and giving them loads of applause, you know, because that fight back, I really thought we were going to come back. But, you know, it was a silly mistake by Dickie. It was weird. My son blamed it on me because we went to an away bar and we met my mate who was undercover, who's a Bournemouth supporter, Gary. And he came in and I said to him, "Watch out for Dickie." I said, "He's brilliant." I said, "He's our centre half." I said, "He scores goals like you wouldn't believe." I said, "He's solid as a rock." And as we came out, my son went, "What you telling him that for?" He said, he'll have a nightmare now and blow me. That mistake. He gave it away. And that was it then. And we were a bit dodgy at the back the other night. We were much better second half. I thought we were going to come back and draw, if not win the second half, but you know, but you were brilliant. I mean, you look good. You know, well, you're going to with that manager, and he's fantastic. I mean, I like him a lot. He's a smart guy. It was Nick Klopp who said he's a good-looking manager.
Yes, yeah. I believe it was.
Yeah.
But that's why I mentioned the Reading game, because of course you come back in that game, you was 3-1 down, and it showed the fight, and we saw that on Tuesday night. QPR, last season, you know, I didn't expect you to do anything at all, and like you say, you've had more bad seasons than you have good. But this season, everything seems to be clicking together. Andre Gray up front, for example.
Yeah.
You know,
well, because we've had all the negative Watford supporters have told us we've made the wrong move, and he comes on and scores the other day. He should have scored at your place the other night. But we've got this wonderful weapon that we bring on halfway through the second half, week in, week out. And his nickname Uncle Albert, we call him Unc. And that's Albert Adoma comes on and he changes the game. And people say, why doesn't he start? And you can see why he doesn't start, because Mark knows that he can bring him on and he'll change the game round. I mean, you saw it the other night. You know?
Yes. Yeah, because we were really under the cosh, and I feel that Travers,
he was brilliant.
He was outstanding. That save that he made towards the end of the game, that 9 times out of 10 that would have gone in. Yeah.
Cahill's fantastic as well. You know, I mean, I can honestly say I'm not proud of the songs that my club was singing. Those supporters were singing. I was like, nah, this is out of order, you know. But I was probably, it was just me and this other bloke sitting next to me who was similar age, going, no, that's out of order, you know. But he's a bloody good player. I mean, he knows what he's doing. You know, you can see the experience, and he was keeping everything together at the back, wasn't he?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. What do you think the season's going to be like for both Bournemouth and QPR? Because I said at the start of the season, I thought that we were going to finish second behind West Brom, who have had some funny results recently. Fulham got beat by Blackpool as well. Recently, so it can show in Championship anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I think you'll go up. You'll be top 2, first or second, no problem. I think if we keep it up and we don't have too many wobbles, I think we could possibly get in the playoffs. We could possibly get in the top 2. I don't know. I mean, we've still got, you know, we haven't reached our potential yet, if I'm honest. And we've had a few games where we haven't played that well, and we've got away with a draw or a win. You know. So I hope we do all right against Bristol City on Saturday. I think we should. Charlie Austin, we missed Charlie the other night. Obviously, he had a family bereavement. That's why he was out. So I'd like to see us do it. But the only thing is, I'll be honest with you, you get in the Premiership and it becomes doom and gloom again. You know, every week it's lovely to see the big sides come to your club, but I don't know. I love the Championship. I really do. Yeah.
I've got to be honest, it's the best league really in the world, because any team can look at Barnsley last year, look at QPR this year, everything's falling together. I think personally, if you put QPR on their day against Barnsley on their day, I think QPR are the better side in terms of quality. But it shows what that unity and that team spirit can do and drag a team up. But there is also the other spin side as well, that there's teams that down there like Nottingham Forest, who, in fact, I predicted was going to reach the playoffs, where they do. Yeah, they do. And they've of course, today sacked Chris Hughton as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With John Terry.
He's a nice man. He's a nice guy, Chris. He's a decent footballer as well. You know, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's a real shame. It's a real shame that it's just not worked out for him at Forest. But I think the writing was on the wall after they've only got 1 point out those 7 games, and the last season they finished quite poorly as well. But hopefully, fingers crossed, you're right, and we can we can both get back to the Premier League. It would be nice. It'd be certainly nice. How many years have you been in Championship now?
In the chat, we came down. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, it was when Harry was at our place, so it must have been 5 years ago. Seems like longer. You know, I remember some great games in the Premiership. You know, obviously when we beat Chelsea and when we beat, or we came back to draw against Liverpool 2-2 with a Jamie Mackie last-minute goal. You know, and the famous Man City game, where even though we didn't win, where Barton turned into a boxer. He went off and was headbutting everybody. That was exciting to watch. So yeah, I've seen some great games, and when I was a kid, I loved it. I loved going to Rangers because I used to go with my dad and my brother, and I really loved going down. I still, our ground is a bit like your ground. You know, no matter where you're sitting, you're close to the pitch. Yeah. You know, and although I have to say your ground was very friendly. I mean, the car park guys and everybody were great. Couldn't get into the Queen's Park Hotel. They didn't want to, even though we had no colours on. They wouldn't let us in. But, yeah. I thought it was ironic. Queen's Park Rangers fans can't get into Queen's Park. Yeah, but it was a great night, and we had a great afternoon. You had to do your fish and chips at Harry Ramsden's. I walked up the pier. My mate used to run the pier. A guy called Ian Good, and he's got a chair at the end of the pier. And I went and sat in his chair, and he died a couple of years ago. And so it was a lovely day. And even though we lost, I quite enjoyed it. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. And you got a good team. You got a fantastic goalkeeper. That's he's the one that's going to win points for you this year. Yeah,
and they're all youngsters as well. Travis is a youngster. Jaden Anthony has scored. Zamora, believe it or not, Travers, Zamora, and Anthony all won man of the match performances. Man of the match awards, I should say, for their performances on Tuesday night. So it goes to show that we've got those youngsters and talented youngsters coming through. So there's a lot of promise, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we can both get out of this league.
Let's hope so.
But like you say, it's doom and gloom, isn't it, when you get to the Premier League? Unless you invest heavily.
I won't be there on Boxing Day, unfortunately. I'll be working on a ship. I'm working over Christmas and New Year. But I think that'd be a good game, Boxing Day. Yeah,
I think it could be. And I believe it is. Yes, I believe it is at Loftus Road. So no, you're always welcome. It's great. Our ground's very similar to yours. I mean, it's a bit bigger. I think we're about 17,000. I think you're at 11,000. Is that right? Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. But lovely. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So
not a problem at all, and thank you for joining me on this Raw reaction video, Jeff. Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you about your time on Eagles and Horses, all your work throughout the years, and of course your love for QPR as well.
Rangers. I'm sure it's the same with you, Craig. There's on a Saturday afternoon. If I'm home, there's no place I want to be more than at Loftus Road. You know, and you go back. It's a tradition, isn't it? When you go, I go with my mate Steve and his son Owen, and his son will only eat a hamburger at the same place each week because he feels it's a tradition. My son's the same. He never wants to drive to the ground. He wants to get on the tube at Ruislip because that's what we do every week. It's like a tradition. We go to the same place, and it's just, I love it. I love it. I don't like the feeling at 4:45 if you just lost, but I just love the atmosphere. It's great. And I love going to any ground, to be honest. It was another one to tick off. I came to your ground years ago when Harry was the manager there. I think it was late 80s. I can't remember what you played, but of course it wasn't the same ground. It was on the same area, but it wasn't the same. Yeah.
They rotated it.
Lovely area for a football club, isn't it? Where you are, with the park out there and all that stuff. The old cricket pavilion.
Just a bit. And it's an absolutely lovely football club as well to support because everybody is so friendly. We have overachieved, you could say.
So what?
But it's a fantastic story, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, Jeff. The -17 video from where. No, it's an interesting watch. So where we were in League Two, -17,
and how
-17.
We've got one called the 4-year plan. Have you seen the 4-year plan?
I haven't, no.
Well, so
No, but that will also be in the links below.
I'll trade that one with you. You've got. I watched mine at 17. You watched the 4-year plan, and we had this madman who was our director of football. You know, Gino Palladini, and it's worth watching because if you remember, it looked like we were going to have the points taken away on the last day of the season, and we got the decision through minutes before, or well, just a couple of hours, I think, before the game. And it's worth watching just to see his reaction when we'd actually got away, well, not got away with it, when we'd actually been no points deduction, and it meant we were going up. And it's just brilliant to watch. It's a great documentary, the 4-year plan. Yeah, it's good.
And that will be in the description below as well. But from everybody here up the Cherries and all departments, thank you so much for coming on our show, Jeff. It's been an absolute pleasure.
See you next time.
Thank you, Jeff. All the very best.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
Take care.
Cheers.
And thank you, everybody, for joining me on this Raw reaction video. Please do remember to hit the like and the subscribe buttons and the bell button. Also, a massive thank you to our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. And here's a little bit more about them now. Until the next video, thank you for joining me. Please do hit that like and subscribe button again, as well as the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.